What's up, everybody? I am Foots the King. Well, Foots the King. If that's how you want to pronounce it. Whatever you want to call me is cool. This is Joe Rod. How are you guys doing? First of all, I feel refreshed, Joe. I'm back to one video a week, and I'm glad to have you on. How you doing, buddy?
We're doing real good, bro. We're doing real good. It's that time of year. Football is slowly coming back, bro.
It's slowly creeping, right, Joe? And OTAs are a big deal. 7-on-7 install, some 11 on 11. You know, Joe, I'll never forget. This is where you find out really quickly if you have a player or not. I feel like, I remember when Tristan Hill was drafted, you didn't hear much in OTAs. He didn't flash, and it was like, eh. But then I never forget when Zach Martin was drafted, he injured Sean Lee in the first week. Remember that? Remember They had to slow him down. He was so physical.
Oh yeah.
And so anyway, Joe, I just feel like I'm just excited. You know what I mean? I'm excited for these guys to be doing football stuff. The draft is over. And I think the cool thing about the draft, Joe, is that we spent so much time figuring out who we wanted and what this team might do. And now these guys are ours. And so now it's time for it to make it make sense. And that's what I want to do with this show tonight, Joe. Joe, I want to go with a couple guys and a couple young stars, or I won't say young stars, but young players who may challenge for starting opportunities. And I want to talk through, and not just the rookies, Joe, but I want to talk through, hey, does a Simi Fayoko, who people have forgotten about, is he somebody who comes out of nowhere, has a great camp, gets more opportunities because Amari Cooper is gone? Does Nashawn Wright, who nobody's talking about, they just think he's off the roster, is he one of these guys? So not just the rookies, Joe, but young players, first-year guys as well. Golston, all these type of guys. So we're going to go through the roster, position groups, and just think about some young players. And it could be rookies. It could be a Jalen Tolbert. You hear so many good things about a Tolbert and what he's bringing and what he brought to the mini camp and just the way he moves and all those types of things. So, Joe, I just went crazy on the intro. Joe, before we even get to the position groups, from minicamp, let's start there. Who is somebody that you were like pleasantly surprised, and maybe some things that you may have heard from the writers?
You're talking about the rookie minicamp?
The rookie minicamp, yes.
Yeah. I think the one that stands out the most is the ability of Tyler Smith. I feel like what they you want to hear positive things about your first round pick, right? So you heard about him holding his own, getting a good look at guard, a little bit at tackle, and it's a good starting point. You know what I mean? I've mentioned this earlier. These are the building blocks of your season. The rookie OTAs, vet rookie OTAs, mini camps. You got to stack everything. This is the base. If you have uneven, you're already doomed. So I feel good about the mix here that we have here with rookies and vets.
That was going to be the one. I tweeted after I heard from Mike McCarthy. It was either McCarthy or it was somebody that said that the power and the twitch is real. And then you heard that he was even able to it was like, him and Ridgeway were going at it, and it was like, okay, when Smith really got serious, it was like it stopped. Like he just put it into it. Joe, this team's been missing that from a lineman outside of not named Frederick or Tyron. How do you what does that do for the demeanor of this team?
It changes the the landscape for setting the tone, right?
Correct.
We always talk about setting the tone. Oh, we're going to set the tone. We're going to run it. We're going to do this. We're going to dominate the line. Some of that was like, just something that we would always say, but we have to be real. Over the last couple of years, the line has lost that luster, that stranglehold in the trenches. But now, I think you see a little bit of a rebuild now, and he brings you the nastiness that you've been missing. To be quite honest, at that guard position since Leary. To be real, Leary was the last nasty, Mauler type of guard that we've had at that left guard position.
Yeah, Joe. And I think that, and David Smith, thanks for chiming in. Thanks to everybody in the chat box as well. Make sure you guys like King Marquis said, he's one of my admins. Make sure that you guys are pounding the like button, get the super chats up. That helps me and Joe Rod out a lot. It helps our channel. Joe Rod is in the building. We'll get to Marquis Bell for sure. So, Joe, you said that we haven't had that presence since Ron Leary. I believe, and I don't know, in this, like you said, we got time to really paint this picture, but I believe that Dallas looked at their scheme last year. I believe that McCarthy brought Kellen and said, look, Kellen, I think you're doing a great job. And Kellen, now that we're actually in the offseason, we can look at it from a vacuum. We're kind of removed from the stink of the playoff loss. Now, that does not mean that Kellen Moore is off the hook, because I'm going to tell you now, if this thing crashes and burns next year, a whole new staff will be in here. So, but that being said, there was some good. The passing game kind of wilted towards the end. So I think Dallas has said, we need to get back to true balance. We need to get back to having a true number one receiver, and we need to get back to our run game design needing to be better. When I hear things like Tyler Smith is twitchy, he could possibly pull, he's physical, and this was some of the things that I was tweeting about that said people are going to owe this athlete an apology, Joe. Because, when we drafted him, it was like it was the end of the world, not knowing that, hey, he feels a need, right, Joe?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he feels a need, and I think that Dallas wants to get back to the run game and all that type of stuff, and playing physical, getting downhill when they not want to, but because they can impose their will.
Yeah, well, they have to impose their will because, you can't have another 49ers game where that team comes in your house and puts your will, on you guys. And that's what happened to us. It was pathetic, and that was line one, I think, for the offseason, and get better in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And I think they've addressed a lot of that, this offseason.
Absolutely. Joe, this is this is an underrated one, and I wanted to do this, Joe, because I know that you are. I call you an offensive line savant. I think that you do a better job than anybody talking about the offensive line. Everybody's talking about defense. Everybody's talking about the linebacker position. People are talking about ends. Joe, we have not spent enough time on swing tackle and backup tackle, and talking about it and putting thought into that, Joe. Well, let's go, Ball. What's going on, Joe? Who do you think has a chance to make a jump? I have my thoughts, but I want to get your thoughts, because at the end of the day, we know Tyron Smith. I'm just here to say it. Tyron Smith will not play 17 games a full season. It's just not going to happen.
No, yeah, definitely. Right. It feels like we've been saying this for like 4 seasons now. So, looks like they're just definitely going to roll with him until the wheels fall off. It looks like, right? But I think the tackle position is going to be very interesting, because you get to see a year 2 Josh Ball, who was pretty much a red shirt. They want him to get stronger, but he has those traits. You know what I mean? He has traits to be a swing tackle, and maybe more. 4th round pick, right, out of Marshall, left tackle. Played some ball at Florida State. So, he's played in good programs. Marshall is not a bad program either. So, that's a good one. Well, let's go. I think, you're good on paper, on the swing tackle position. Now it's putting it into action to see, how do these guys hold up against, some of the best in the league? How do they look against a Michael Parsons rush? How do they look against a DeMarcus Lawrence rush? You want to see that, because if they're inserted into the starting lineup, that's the type of guys they're going to see. You know what I mean? So,
Correct.
Let's see what happens there.
Correct. And I think that will be, Joe, the battle to watch is Waletzko and Ball. But I want to give this staff some flowers, right, Joe? Because do they get any credit for the development of Terrence Steele? People are really hard on this staff. Joe, I will 100% say that I was not a fan of Terrence Steele even being on this team. I thought I had him as a cut, and he came in and he got better. He put the work in. He got stronger, and he 10,000% earned and kicked Lyle Collins off the roster. He did that, his play.
Yeah.
And so, is there going to be some truth to Josh Ball really getting better? Is this, I had a 3rd round grade on Waletzko, and the only reason was because he was a small school guy. I saw really everything that I needed to see, especially in the type of tackles that McCarthy has went with in the past, right? So, guys like Bakhtiari, who aren't the most powerful, but they do such a good job in mirroring and shielding and having their body control for quicker DNs. That's really what McCarthy looks for in the offensive tackle. And I thought that Waletzko fit that mold. And so I just really think, and then not to mention, you do have a Tyler Smith who's played it, and I think that he'll double down there as well. And I think they want to move this offensive line around. All right, let's get to some chats real quick, Joe. I saw the pick of Tyler Smith in rookie minicamp, and his build looked very similar to Tyler Smith. I'm not saying he's Tyler Smith, he's built like him. Joe, I think this is a great comment, and this is one of the things that I said too. I know we're going back to Smith. Tyler Smith is way bigger than I thought. You don't know what these guys look like till you really get him in the building. He is an imposing guy, right, Joe?
Yeah, he's NFL ready. I mean, we saw the picture of him with Micah. It makes Micah look like an average dude now. He's that big, right? He's that wide. Yeah, so he's got the frame. He's got the traits,
Yeah, he looks like an NFL, like, okay, he's first off the bus guy.
Yeah, he looks stout, you know what I mean? And the film, shows that, in the running game especially, right? So he's gonna get busy in the trenches, and I'm ready. I'm ready to see it.
21 years old, has a lot of room to grow. Okay, David Smith says, Joe, I am a Marshall University fan, being from West Virginia. Ball has tremendous ability. Shout out to you, David Smith. Thank you. I hope he shows it on the field. Yeah, the off the field was really the only issue with Ball. 2nd round grade for sure. I think that Mike McCarthy has mentioned him on 2 occasions. So there's the fact that he's brought him up says a lot. And so it'll be interesting, Joe, to see if Josh Ball is that guy. I think that he can be, and that he will get every opportunity to be. I think that just people need to just make sure that they keep their eye on swing tackle, because I do think that is a position that is big. Okay, Joe. Another position that people aren't talking about, and I want to talk about a young player who has a chance to challenge for a starting job or reps, is backup tight end, Joe. Dallas likes to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. I think they'll get more to their running game. Jake Ferguson now. And what are we looking for from McKeon? And does Jake Ferguson have the ability, Joe, to say, I can possibly take this job?
Yeah. I mean, his draft, he was a 4th round pick. He's out of Wisconsin, so that he knows how to. He's going to be one of these road grader type of guys that know, you got to know how to block when you're in Wisconsin, right? So you get that right out the gate. I love his hands; they're soft hands. From the tight end
ability is really good.
I loved his hands, just like Ruckert. I think they just very soft hands, catch the ball, they're reliable. Yeah, those were my 2 favorite guys with the hands, right? At tight end. And
you were on that, Joe. You were on that. I want to give Joe his flowers. He was on Ferguson as a guy who could really catch the football, and that's what he's really good with that.
Yeah, man. So I love the 1-2 punch of Dalton Schultz and Ferguson. Sean McEwen, I like him, but can he stay healthy? That's he's already built that kind of
That
thing.
Blake Jarwin.
It happens, right? It really does. Like, okay, this is the guy, Rico Dowdle, McEwen, these kinds of guys. The safety, what's his name? Same type of guys that are good when they're on, but they get dinged up a little bit. But I like them. I like those three.
Yeah, I think that you painted a good picture. I think that Jake Ferguson will challenge. I think Schultz is the guy, and I was really on top of Schultz as far as I just thought that he just was more consistent than Blake Jarwin, and it continued to prove true that Jarwin just couldn't stay healthy. All the ability in the world, but it'll be like that. I don't know where he ended up signing at, but it'll be like that wherever he's at now. He'll be one of them guys that he just can't quite stay healthy. So I think the best ability was Schultz's availability. Yeah. And then I feel like Ferguson is really kind of like the same player, maybe a little bit more farther along as a pass catcher at this point than what Schultz was, but that could be good because maybe you don't bring back Schultz and maybe you do use Ferguson in that role next year. But anyway, I mean in 2 years. But anyway, I just say that to say that I think it's a good problem to have, and I think that Dallas really kind of got lucky in being able to get a player like Ferguson.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the tight ends coming off the board. There was a run there. It was like, damn, you know what's left? You gotta get one here in the fourth if you're gonna get one, and fell in their lap, man. So it's good. It's good for the team. They definitely needed that number two, and I think he will. I think Ferguson will ultimately win that number 2 tight end job.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, it's definitely it's going to be very interesting, Joe, seeing how it all pans out. All right, Joe. We're going with these underrated positions. We'll get to the headliners, but I want to talk about this right here. I called Tristan Hill a bust, and I'm not going to back away from it. Now I actually feel more right than ever because he just hasn't given you what you need as a player. As a second-round pick, it just hasn't been enough, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, Tristan Hill, Bohanna, and now Ridgeway, your nose tackles. Joe, what do you want to hear something good coming from OTAs? And I've heard some good things already about Ridgeway. I heard Bohanna. I saw Bohanna on Twitter. It was kind of like, don't forget about me, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what his sentiments were. But I guess the point is this, Joe. Early thoughts. I know this isn't a battles. I didn't really want to go battles. I just kind of want to think of who could. But, like, is Tristan Hill even a lock to make this team?
It's an uphill battle, right? Because what we've seen from Tristan Hill is what he is. You know what I mean? I think he came into the NFL with a low ceiling. To be quite honest, I think he's already hit that. Like, is he going to get better? I don't think he's going to get better. And he's already had a year with Dan Quinn. And did you see much improvement under Dan Quinn? I didn't. I didn't. Right. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be in a dogfight. You know what I mean? And we still got Watkins, right, in the mix.
Yeah. So Watkins is a really good player.
I'd take Watkins over him. I mean, I would take.
He got a lot of snaps last year.
Yeah, I think the defensive tackle to watch here, as far as somebody that's going to be a starter, would be Osa Odigizua.
Yeah.
I think this is a guy that has the NFL frame. I've described him as possibly being the next kind of Jason Hatcher, where if he really puts in the work, he can be that 3-tech monster. You know what I mean? Like 8 to 10 sacks, something like that, if he makes that big leap. And because I think Osa's better than Gallimore. I really do. Gallimore to me is kind of
that's good. That's a nice hot take. I wish I had a hot take. That's a good hot take. A lot of people love Gallimore, but I think the twist from Osa is a little better. But so now Osa, I think the funny thing what happened with Osa is he kind of, I wouldn't say he maxed out, Joe, but he did hit a rookie wall.
There was a rookie wall there. Yeah, no doubt about that. And it's hard. These rookies talk about it. Even Micah said that he felt it, but he felt that he got over that wall and kept going. Right. So it's tough for these rookies to get through those rookie walls, man. It's a real thing.
Yeah, but I like what you're saying about maybe Osa is our best 3 tech. I think those noses are just going to get the reps that they get, and they're just going to have to find a way to get them. The good thing is Dan Quinn likes a lot of D linemen, so I think that, there may only be like 1 or 2 odd men out. I don't, the thing to watch about Tristan is Dan Quinn didn't draft him. And, that's it, follow the drafts, follow the team building. And, Dan Quinn didn't draft Tristan Hill, but he did draft these other athletes. So, that will be interesting to see. I like what you're saying, though. When you talk about the threes, let's ask the chat box, Neville or Osa? I know everybody was like waiting for Neville to get back, but like just the burst, the explosion, the hand usage, I kind of like what Joe is saying, that dare I say Osa is a better player. Joe?
We're going to see it. We're going to see it. There's always, is there a sophomore slump for any of these, 2021 draft guys, right? They're second-year players. So, it depends on them, really. Quentin saying, don't forget about me. Well, you got to put it out there and pop off on film and be so they don't forget about you. So you can't just say it. You got to do it. You really got to show up in all these opportunities. There's not many opportunities for these young guys. So we'll see what they do, man. But I think it's a good mix. I think adding Ridgeway into the mix, one of these guys will be an odd man out. So who will it be? Is a big question.
And I think a big thing is this. It is. I'm glad that we're in this part of the offseason so we can really look at film of all of the draft picks and the whole 9. But I think that Dallas has, and they've earned the right to do this. They've made their bed as a team that is going to draft and develop. That's just what they're going to do. And when I say draft and develop, they're going to draft. They're going to have a plan, and they're going to put the onus on their young players. And that's why I'm doing a video like this, because they will throw young guys out there if ready. Right, Joe? And they've shown that in that, they've had success. So they've had a lot of success. They just haven't had success. They for everybody who gives Dallas hell and wants to draft sign every free agent, today people are talking about Julio Jones and Will Fuller. I'm like, people, what are we doing? The Cowboys aren't going to jump. They're not going to sign. Yeah. Do you guys watch football? He's not good. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, Julio Jones' time came and passed. You got to remember, he was drafted around. Hey, Vacho, how you doing? He was drafted around the time of Dez Bryant. Like, this is a young man's game. Like, Julio can't stay healthy. He couldn't catch on with Tennessee. They need a receiver. They could have signed him. And then, Will Fuller, like, no. Give me Jalen Tolbert and let's rock. Yeah, Vach is in the building. Everybody say, what's up, brother Vach?
What's up, bro?
I'll show him some love. Vach, we're just talking about, OTAs and what we're looking at is some young guys who could challenge. Now, Joe, the end position is very tricky to me because I think that you have ends that will come in on first and second down, play the run. And then you have your guys that'll be in NASCAR packages. Joe, who's a young guy who doesn't have to be a rookie, but it can be, who are young guys, and don't forget, Micah does everything. And so when I talk about linebackers, we'll keep that in mind as well. But who are the young guys that you say will play the run, will get after the quarterback and who will do both, and who is the young guy or guys who could challenge and get maybe some of these old guys off the roster at the end position?
I think one name to keep an eye on is going to be Golston. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I want
good
him to
name.
push. I really want him to push off. Well, I know they won't push off that. Stephen Jones has mad love for Dorrance Armstrong, so he's not going anywhere. But you think about a Basham, I'm not a big fan of him. Didn't do much. Had a
First
couple
and
of sacks
second down player, yeah.
right. So I look for Golston to push off one of these guys. Basham, I think, will be one that's really going to have to show up here to stay on. But yeah, man, I think Golston has those traits. He's like a version of like a Tyron Crawford, a guy that can play on the edge, a guy that can move inside and give you some snaps in there as well. Depending on what kind of packages you want to run. I like him. Obviously, the rookies. Sam Williams is gonna have an impact in some way. He's just you just look at the way he holds himself. He looks like he's been. He looks like
He's pro ready.
he's pro
The
ready,
build
man.
is pro ready.
Yeah, he looks like he's carved out of granite already. I mean, I'm excited to see what he does with Dan. I'm really pumped with letting Dan Quinn mold him into something. I think could be something special, man. So, but yeah, give me Golston, man. Let's see what he can do. I think he can be a bigger impact this year, and I think he plays the run, relatively well as for a rookie, and I think he can improve on that.
Yeah, because the point about Sam Williams that I like that you're making is true. I think year one, if you just give him one role, 4 times a game, 5 times a game, we're going to get in situations where we're just going to let you scream off the edge. And, obviously he's not as nuanced. And I don't even think Micah was that nuanced. I just think he was a better athlete than Micah is just a scary, freaky athlete. Like when he ran that 4.3 or 4.4, whatever it was at his pro day, just the way that he moved. And then he actually got a lot better with seeing the game. After I think it was the Minnesota game, I was rewatching it the other day. I was like, okay, that's when it clicked for him. But even early on, he was giving you a lot of good reps. So I think so. In turn, what you really need, Joe, is for Sam Williams to. I think Sam Williams will in turn push Basham off the roster. Like if Sam and again McCarthy. Coaches, I said this in my video, coaches will tell you the truth if you listen. And McCarthy said, no, there's a few times he's just floating in the backfield. Mm-hmm. And, I think Dow said they'll deal with the character stuff if he can give you this type of juice. And, if he can give you that, then I think that you say bye-bye Basham and you live. You live with what you got because I think Golston can give you some help against the run because Dallas is just trying to get you to third down anyway. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be good battles up front, in the trenches, because you're getting younger there too. So that's good. I've been saying I want the Cowboys to strike while the iron's hot. This defense is young, hungry, and can do something for you, at the end of the year when it really counts, into the playoffs when it counts. Offense, I think, needs to catch up a little bit, but strike while the iron's hot, man. This defense has the potential to really do some things here. You think about Jabril Cox, year 2. I'm really pumped for that, bro. I'm really pumped to see what he does.
So right now, yeah, let's talk about it. So I'm looking at the depth chart right now, and obviously – middle linebacker is Michael Parsons. The will is Leighton, and that's the starters. And we got to also remember that they use where's my guy at? They use Curse in a really a linebacker-esque role. He's they kind of principles of a 4-2-5 where he's always hanging around the box.
Yeah.
And using his length, that 6'4" length. So that's kind of where they use Curse at. And so really that will is on the field at times and then off the field at times. So, at the end of the day, Joe, what I want to know from you is this. Does Jabril Cox get Leighton Vander Esch off the field?
Um, I won't say he gets him off the field. I think there's though he'll be like a rotational guy to give some breaks. But
Okay.
if it were me, I'd probably go with Jabril, the Steel Cox, bro.
Why does he get him off the field, Joe? Why can't Jabril, is Jabril not good enough to get Leighton off the field?
No,
Because there's
I think he'll get him off the field, but not as far as like like
like full time.
will be full time because
It's his job.
they do like his size. You know what I mean? He's a big linebacker. He's got length, right? So and Quinn likes the measurables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you use him. You got him on a 1 year deal. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's still able to make plays. But I think Jabril, his trajectory, he was on his way, man. He was on his way to being like, man, this is the new 1-2 punch. The new 1-2 punch was gonna be Micah and Jabril. Before
Yeah.
Jabril got hurt. I mean, you could see it. You could see the progression, man. It was badass, dude.
Yeah, that defensive speed, it's clear what Dallas is building is special. And I think that this is good team football where it's like, hey, you don't have to outscore people. You don't have to be the Rams, the greatest show on turf. Really, you just need to play good, solid football and fly around. I think that Baltimore has I just love Baltimore's recipe, which is that the way that they draft, the type of athletes they draft, the way that they want to play football. You have to get back to. I think teams really have to get back to winning dirty. I think that's what was able to get San Francisco to another NFC championship, Joe. Did they have, the best roster on offense? Nope. But they fly to the football on defense and they run the ball and play action just enough. I think Dak will be an amazing play action quarterback. But that's for another conversation. I'll stay locked in here. Okay, Joe. People want to talk about Marquis Bell and his prospects. And Joe, I tell myself this all the time. I'm not getting into the UDFAs and the whole, because it's just so unrealistic at times to think that these guys are going to come in and challenge. And then the truth is, this team is loaded at safety, Joe. Obviously Hooker, they brought Hooker back. We have J-Ron Curse. Who was that guy last year that they had on a 1 year deal? He was really good too. I was watching film. He saved a lot of tackles. Who did we get from Atlanta, Joe? What was his name?
Oh,
Because he was not a bad player at safety.
Yeah.
Like he actually made some interceptions. Like he was not a bad athlete. So I think they're gonna go with Hooker and Curse.
Yeah.
And we'll Hooker Wilson, some form of Hooker Wilson and Curse. Israel Mcewen, okay, and let's talk about Marquis Bell. So Mcewen and Bell are the two young guys. Do they have a chance to maybe challenge a Donovan Wilson? I like Dono a lot, Joe. Do they have a chance to maybe challenge him, or even maybe challenge Hooker? We know Hooker has been injured before in the past. What are we thinking about those two guys?
Yeah, I mean the truth is both of them are have durability issues, right? If you talk about Hooker, you talk about Donovan Wilson, durability is their biggest is their kryptonite, and so
Yeah,
and I think that's what will kind of keep a little crack of the door open, for some of these younger guys because if Donovan Wilson misses a bunch of time, that's definitely going to open up the door for somebody to slide in there, Mcewen or a Bell or somebody might come out of nowhere. So
correct.
we'll see what happens there. But I think those guys might be battling more for practice squad type of deals. But you never know. Donovan Wilson, could he be one of those surprise cuts? You know what I mean? There's always a surprise cut. You know what I mean? Oh, they won't do that. What somebody will. There's always a surprise cut when these cuts come through, man. It happens every year.
Donovan wasn't so interesting to me, man, because it's like there was a time, man, where he was like, you just knew he had that starting safety position locked in.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just like he just can't get back on the field. I don't know if they don't like his range. I don't know if they don't trust him, Joe. So it's just that is very interesting to watch. And then maybe if one of these young guys does take the leap, you know that Mcewen has the size. So if one of these young guys does possibly take the leap, Joe,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to really keep an eye on and see, you know, just how does that pan out? I think there will be good depth there at that position, which is good. We always have to account for injuries, and so that'll be good as well. So it'll just be interesting to see who kind of is the guy. We know that because I mean this time last year, again, I won't be a front runner. This time last year, I had J-Ron Curse off the team. I thought he was a camp body at best. He comes in and has a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah, I got major flack for saying Curse was going to beat out Donovan Wilson. I'll never forget it. It's not going to happen. This and that.
You caught it. You caught it.
I was like, I saw what I saw.
You started to call that early in training camp.
Yeah, and that's why these reps are so important for these young guys. You gotta
the OTA reps, right, Joe?
Yeah, you gotta play, man. You can't come out out of shape on the sides, with the ropes, with the bands, and that's one thing that I did like about today. You saw Kelvin Joseph out there on the field. So did he get scared straight? He's on the field. He's not on the side. Working the ropes, the band. So I like that. So
yeah, because he was a guy last year who, like you said, Joe. I don't think that people just understand how fast it's gone. I know I got a buddy, Rasheed Walker, who's actually with the Packers now, and we text back and forth, and he's like, "Dude, they give you the playbook immediately, and now it's on you to know everything. They'll give you help, but you're now a pro."
Yeah.
And time management is so important. And if you come and like you said, it basically is like if you come to mini camp or to training camp not knowing what's going on, you could really get cut. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
If you're a tick slow on certain things or don't pick up on certain things. And I just don't think that people understand, like you literally go from training to now. Right now, you're now on a team and you represent an organization. And so anyway, I think that's what we're going to be looking at. All right, Joe. We'll wrap up here. Thank you, everybody, to who joined. We'll wrap up here with the receiver position. I wanted to save this. This is obviously one of the sexier positions. I want to save this one for last because I think it's very, very interesting. So I'm going to dress this up, Joe, and then I want you to chime in and just give me your thoughts. So the Dallas Cowboys this time last year had the, on paper, best receiving core in football.
Yeah.
Until they didn't. Until Kellen Moore wasn't able to make it work. Amari Cooper cared until he didn't. A little of that, a little of this. Yes, we already talked, Matt. Well, let's go. Sorry, Stephen White. You're late. Just catch this on the rebound and send this to all your family and friends. So, had the best receiving core till they didn't, Joe. And then, lo and behold, Michael Gallup gets hurt. And then, late in the year, the passing game stutters. You see some different coverages. It's kind of like, does Kellen Moore have an idea of what's going on? Dak, are you reading the field? Are receivers creating separation? Are they catching the football? CD has some focus drops. What is going on? Joe, all of this said and seen and the whole nine, Dallas loses another playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
The receiving core was not good in that game. Outside of the Amari Cooper touchdown, it was not good. And Turin, Cowboys fans are pissed because Dallas is not going to pay Amari Cooper $20 million, and Amari Cooper is now catching footballs from the Cleveland Browns. Cedric Wilson gets himself a nice contract from Miami, I believe.
Yeah.
And boom, the room is now CeeDee Lamb's for the taking. Joe, James Washington, Simi Fayoko, Jalen Tolbert. I'm not going to mention TJ Vasher because we're just not going to do that, guys. We're not going to do that. I'm not doing that with y'all. Talk to me, Joe.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be interesting because you're gonna start the year without Gallup, right? So immediately the whole pressure, and it's gonna be a lot of pressure on them. But I think more so is how does McCarthy and Kellen Moore, how do they handle that week one with Tampa Bay, right? Because if you can't move the ball in the air, it's going to be a long ass season because you're going to be missing Gallup for what is it, like 5 games or something like this. Like he's going to start off on short term IR. I feel like, right?
Yes.
Is it 5 games that they're predicting for Gallup or 6? It's something like that, right?
I was told between 3 to 5.
3 to 5, okay,
but maybe even longer.
yeah.
Dallas always errs on the side of caution, so I don't think they'll try to rush him back. I don't think that they will rush him back.
Yeah. But that being said, they get Washington. They liked Washington that draft year. There was interest there, right? We studied him out of Oklahoma State, and you bring in Tolbert, who he lasted to the 3rd round, so he's got that swag, the ability to be a slot guy that can get down the field type of guy. So I think you need to figure out, is he a slot, or did they start him on the outside? Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
And Noah Brown, good old Noah Brown finds a way to keep making the team. Somebody said in the chat box, he keeps making it year in and year out. But I think they developed him into a good, rotational kind of guy. So I think that Brown to me will be something that's going to be hard to get off the field. He knows how to block. We've seen him deliver some monster blocks for Zeke in the running game. Sometimes you think you're looking at Dez out there when you see him, to be quite honest. And he stayed healthy. You know what I mean? He started out very fragile, but he's turned himself around. But for Hoko, you know what I mean? It's going to be an uphill battle. Typically, they carry like 5 receivers, right? So, maybe you do carry for Hoko until Gallup gets back, or maybe one of these guys that people are mentioning here is a blows people out of the water and shows up as a Miles Austin type of gem. I mean, you never know; it could happen. But got a lot of vets here. I mean, it's gonna be hard to bump some of these guys off foots.
Yes. I always tell people, don't start getting into the woods, deep into the woods on the undrafted free agents, guys. It's just they went undrafted for a reason. I mean, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but so I want to talk Jalen Tolbert, Joe, and then we'll wrap up here. I just have a really good feeling about this player. Everything that you've heard, everything that you see, is starting to come out now, just how he wins against single coverage. And that's what he's going to see on the edge, because we're going to still see loaded boxes. I think the teams will still say Dallas wants to run the ball and do certain things with Zeke and Tony. And, obviously, I think that Jalen Tolbert is so smooth. He has an NFL body that if the drops don't become an issue, I've called him a poor man's Jamar Chase. Now, is he Jamar Chase? No. But he plays similar because he can play in a slot, but he can also play on the edge. And the route running is like really sneaky good, Joe. And he went to South Alabama. Why? Because he wanted to play baseball. He wanted to be a 2-sport athlete. Could he went to any of school? There was talks about him if he went back, possibly going to a bigger name school. So I just feel that he's going to get every opportunity, Joe, to make plays, and I think that he will, Joe.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the guys that we looked at. We liked what he did in the Senior Bowl. I mean, he did it against NFL talent. So it's a proven thing. So sometimes you look at you think about South Alabama, and some people knee-jerk reaction is, oh, small school wide receiver, he ain't gonna make it. But some of these guys, they show out, man. You know what I mean? It's just got to be about, you know, them. How much do they want it? You know, how much do they study? You know what I mean? Do they do the little things that the other guys aren't doing? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. How much do they want? How much do they study? And honestly, do they know the playbook and do they know how to beat certain coverages? Because there are going to be corners that get fit. That's the one thing that I liked about him over like Sky Moore, some of these other guys, is he has an NFL body as well. Dallas truly had a guys. We got a troll in here. Need somebody to control that. Let's see. Oh, I got him out.
Yeah,
Dallas truly does. Yes, they come quick, don't they, y'all? Gotta watch them, boy. They like ants.
yeah, maggots.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Dallas truly had a certain type of way they wanted to draft and the certain type of body style that they wanted to draft.
Oh yeah,
And so that was interesting, Joe. So I think that we covered a lot here. I think that people need to understand just what OTAs are. It's not quite camp, but it is football things happening. A lot of install is going on. A lot of team building, team camaraderie. It's not quite camp. They won't be going at camp tempo, but stuff will be coming out about and somebody's saying here, and let's talk about it. Somebody's saying here, Noah Brown may be gone. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But stuff will be coming out about who's doing what and who's struggling. Like I said, I'll never forget that draft when, Tristan Hill was just like you didn't hear anything good. You didn't hear that he was doing his job. You didn't hear that he was in shape. You didn't you heard that him and Rod weren't seeing eye to eye and that he was immature and all these types of things. But then all you hear with, Joe, all you hear with Tyler Smith is he does have the NFL body. He is ready to go. All you hear with Tolbert is he is ready to go. All you hear with so I just say that to say, Joe, closing thoughts. How are you feeling? Are you a little more at ease? Is the plan starting to come to fruition for you?
I am. Be quite honest. I'll be honest.
That's good, Joe, because you have a
uh,
good feel with this stuff.
yeah, I feel that the defense we got better. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Not only with the guys that they added, but your year two guys I think are going to be big. And you're young. You're young on defense. I can't say that enough. I think this defense under Dan Quinn has the opportunity to be special. I mean, we know what they did last year, but this year could be at another level, in a different kind of way. I'm talking about just slapping people around left and right. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Just be physical, set the tone. You know what I mean, for 4 quarters. You know what I mean. So I feel good about that. The offense, it's kind of one of those things where are you better by subtraction? That's going to be to be determined for me. But I think that they definitely have you know improved on that line, man. You had to come out of this draft fixing the line. You had to come out of this, and then they did it. I wanted them to do it. They did it, and I think that's going to bode well for the running game as well. You know what I mean? And protect Dak. You got to protect that 100 and some million-dollar quarterback, dude. you know.
yeah, yeah. I think that was just all around. I love that. Like you said, we definitely will have a. I think that we'll look back and say, "Dang, that we had a lights out pick with Tyler Smith," and I'm very happy that he's a Cowboy. All right, guys, we're gonna close out here. I'm back to one video a week. I'll be doing topics, kind of stretching this thing out. The good thing about it is, Joe, time is flying, and we are very close to real camp. Once these OTAs 9 periods, and they do a mini camp, and then they head out, Joe. So I think that it's time's moving. So before you know it, it'll be July 25th or 23rd, whatever it is, and they'll be in Oxnard clicking. Joe, tell everybody where they can find you, and thank you for coming on, my brother.
Man, Foots, thanks for having me on. Thanks to everybody in the chat box that joined us tonight. If you're catching on the replay, pound that like button for my boy Foots. Great content as usual, man. Thanks for having me on. Guys, you can find me on YouTube. Just look up Cowboys blog. and just hit me up, man. Give me a follow, subscribe. I would appreciate it, guys.
Yep, Joe's latest video is really good, guys. He does really thoughtful work. He has really good and original content. And as far as somebody who I trust, he's one of my go-tos. And shout out to everybody in the community that I work with or have worked with: Law, Koye, Vach, Joe, Jeff Kavanaugh. Everybody who does amazing stuff. Shango, the OG. Everybody does amazing stuff. And like I said, guys, we will. This team will be fine. Things will look different, but you have a true one in CD, and he knows he needs to take that jump, and I think that he will. Anyway, that's all our time, and we thank you guys for yours. It's your boy Foots. Joe. Peace. Peace.